Okay, so here's my perspective on children and like um doggies and kitties in like on live streams. I don't care. It's like if you're home and this is your life, I'd rather show you what your real life is than that pretty perfect picture like this bull crap that's behind me. Like it's like if you actually turned my camera around and saw the rest of my office right now, you'd be like, okay, that's the authentic Sia. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
like look at that show. You know what I mean? Like, you
Yeah,
know,
there's literally like
dry cleaning
hanging
yoga
on the
mats, like in front
right
of
there.
us. It's like
oh my
our
gosh.
studio / studio.
Yeah, extra room.
Yeah.
I like I gotta tell you, man, like it is so funny because I actually did that once with a I was you know how you do a lot of networking. That's how we met actually. It's like, you know, virtual networking. And I was talking to this person and they were just having a bit of a crisis moment. Another fellow entrepreneur that was like had some self-doubts, which we have like 10,000 times a day. And I just said, look, like I don't have it together either. And I know I try to be optimistic and positive for people. I mean, but look at this shit show that is like my office. And I turned the camera around and just the look on their face, they're like, you're disgusting. Like, throw that away.
They're like, too much.
Like you're oversharing. I'm like, well, that is what I do. That is what I do. Speaking of oversharing. Okay, Becky, Jabez, are we ready for The Mic is Listening?
Let's do this.
We're ready.
Oh, you poor suckers.
Ready.
The mic is listening.
The mic is listening.
The mic is listening.
The mic is
The
listening.
mic is listening.
The 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 mic is listening.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to The Mic is Listening. I'm Sia, and we're back for another fun day, Wednesday, hump day. Happy Wednesday. I really need to get a better opening line on this. It's only been a few years. It's okay. All right. So Becky, keep laughing at me. I love it. So today's episode, anytime any guest tells me that their favorite band is Radiohead, I'm just like, okay, can you be permanently on my show? Because I just love them to death. Well, if you guys, if you know a thing or two about me, is I always have songs in my head, but like I was trying to find lyrics, and look, the future is in you. That's what this podcast is going to be about this fine morning. And I do want to welcome some great guests. And you know, I'm just going to jump right into it because, you know, damn it, Janet, let's just make this happen. So I would like, oops, there we go. Oh wait, oh my gosh, I removed you from the stream. Sorry.
Get out of here.
And that's a wrap. That's a wrap. Great show, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Yeah. And we're done. All right, everyone. Welcome to The Mic is Listening. It is Becky and Jabez LeBret, the founders of Lotus Launch. Welcome, guys.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. It's fun.
Oh, I hope you guys are having fun. Look, okay, so I've only been doing this for like gotta be at least 2 years now, and I still can't get this damn platform right. So full disclosure, and I say this every episode because I really want to emphasize, yes, I am a co-founder of a podcast production company, but this is my own personal, and I said it earlier, shit show. I do this on purpose, okay? This is not to reflect a bad performance of my brand. It is actually me saying, it's not easy to do this by yourself. And that's why our company exists. It's fun, but there's a lot of work behind the stages, a lot of nuances, a lot of steps, a lot of post-production work, a lot of post-marketing efforts. So yes, look, I'm gonna say shit show like 15 times today just because I feel like it, but there's a reason why it's not easy, guys. I've been doing this for 2 years. So either that or I'm a stubborn learner.
It's real. That's what I think everybody loves about it, right?
Exactly.
Realness.
And Becky, Becky, Jabez, I gotta tell you, you guys are like couples, like goals, okay? So if you see me make a face at you,
not last night when we were stumbling out of the restaurant.
Okay, first off, I'm so extraordinarily jealous. Like, how fun is it that was it your dad that gave you a call, Becky?
Yeah.
Yeah. When the in-laws and your parents give you a call, and next thing you know, you've got the hangover hanging out with your parents. I mean, you guys are living life right.
We left early. They were still there. Like that's the life we're living. We're like, okay, got to go back to the 4-year-old, relieve the babysitter, and be on a podcast at 7:45 in the morning, bright-eyed and hungover.
Okay, so I felt guilty about that because I was like, okay, great. Now I don't feel any slight pressure to make sure you guys have a good time and make it worth their while. So, I mean, had I known that, I would have offered hair of the dog just for us to kick this off.
Oh man,
shots of tequila.
Bloody Mary Wednesday, I guess.
Oh,
Irish coffee.
Is that a thing?
Oh, okay. First off, the answer is always yes. We're grown adults, right? Now, always in moderation, which is the irony saying that I'm the one saying in moderation, but we'll just leave it at that. Okay, so I've got to tell you this. So when I mentioned it earlier, is like when anyone like picks Radiohead, and look, Jabez, don't take it personal. I don't even know who the Avett brothers are. I'm guessing they're a country music band or something.
Bluegrass.
Okay, I like bluegrass, but I just didn't have time, and I saw Radiohead, and I said, yeah, whatever.
Can't go wrong.
It was so funny because when he asked me that, he's like, what's your favorite band? I was like, oh, I have so many different flavors depending on like what mood I'm in. And I go through, I'm sure as you do, right? We go through these cycles of like different music. And then he's like, well, what's your go-to always? I'm like, Radiohead, obviously. The other one was going to be Tool. Like it's either Radiohead or Tool. So I was like, Radiohead. That's my like mild.
So I'm glad you picked Radiohead over Tool because I've already done a Tool lyric to another previous guest. So we're good on that.
You've been mixed up.
Yes. No, well, Tool's not, look, it's a good band too. So I'm all about the 90s alternative. So
right.
80s and 90s alternative all day long. So, okay, you guys. But Becky, I gotta tell you, so this is another reason why I'm like flustered a little bit. So I know it was my fault. I didn't like ask you guys till late about your music. You, like I said, you think I would have known this by now to ask people well in advance what their favorite music and band is, but what time did I send you a note? I think it was like 5 or 6 o'clock last night. So,
I think so.
Yeah, something like that.
For anyone that knows anything about Radiohead, they're not the most like golly jolly, uplifting, ready for corporate business podcast band. Like all the songs that like they're like, oh, songs that will uplift you. They're like always like
depressing.
You know,
they are
like like. One of the lines is ambition makes you look pretty ugly, squeaking, kicking, Gucci little piggy. And I'm like, well, that's not a really good song for a song title. So anyone's curious, the future is in you is in the numbers. It's a newer song. Is it I forgot which album it's on. Sorry, Radiohead fans. I'm not that bad good apparently.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like
I mean, I just put the band on and it's all the same. Like I love it. Like it's
just play it on repeat, album after album.
Well, we don't have albums anymore, right? Yeah. With all the streaming stuff, you just go to the Radiohead channel and then just listen to all the Radiohead.
Get off my lawn.
You don't get the CD, like out anymore.
Experience anymore.
But no, you put it in.
You can though. 100 you can.
I know, but like our new car didn't even come with a CD player.
I still have CDs.
I mean, we have our older car does, but like they don't even put them in cars anymore. It's kind of sad.
That's right, Becky. 2 hands to hold it.
I like my Irish coffee.
Man, I should have like ruled that out for you guys. So okay, so let us talk more seriously for 2 seconds here, okay? Because when I first met Jabez, it was on a networking virtual meetup, and it was it Frank or with JD?
JD.
Okay, with JD. So JD Gershbein, I have to give you a proper shout out because of you, we got to meet, and I just absolutely just love the community that JD's cultivated for his own network of people, and the fact that I get to meet you guys. Yay! Okay, now why do I care? Why are they so damn cool? Why are you on the mic is listening? It's because of this. I am all about people who have got passion, fire, desire, and purpose. And of which you two seem to have. And yes, I'm not trying to kiss your you-know-what too much, but it does go into Lotus Launch, okay? And the thing is, in 2 sentences, what is Lotus Launch, you guys?
Go for it.
It's a community. It's a platform for female entrepreneurs who want to launch their business and get beyond $1 million in revenue.
Love that. Okay. Love that because we love money. I like money. If you know the movie and where that quote came from.
Oh.
I will definitely.
I like money.
I like money. And that is the way it was actually said in the movie. So everyone that's listening, all one of you, two of you, put it in comments. I love money. Okay, so the reason why Lotus Launch is cool is that it's almost like the way I understand it, and tell me if I'm wrong, is like think of it as like a a central repository of like think of like that branded content like masterclass, but you do it on your own pace with your own interest. It's all business focused and betterment to get you to getting your revenue goals, which is again what you guys are targeting 200, 1 million. That's your sweet spot. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
Okay.
just build it perfectly.
And here's where I think is so cool about it is because you, Jabez, you told me that Lotus Launch was designed for female entrepreneurs in mind, but it doesn't have to be exclusive, but it was designed. So I'm going to ask this one question. I hope, and if you don't have it yet, do you have someone that talks about hormones and menopause in business?
Oh my God, that's such a great topic. We don't, but that is an amazing topic.
You know somebody?
I
I
do.
And you do, yes.
I do, and she actually runs this Facebook group, and it's called Perimenopause Hub. She's out of England. Her name is Emily Barkley, and she is was a previous guest on the show. And I may not be, curious about that for some friend I want to speak about that might be going through perimenopause and how it affects business and relationships. Just saying. It might be a great topic.
No,
You
that's a
know what
great
I
topic.
love about that topic too, because when we were in the middle of our last project that we did together, which was Sisu Academy, I was pregnant and we had our son in the middle of that project. And I'm a super like ambitious driven, like burn the midnight oil, candle at both ends type person. And then my brain just kind of shifted during that time. I went through like crazy postpartum for like a couple of years. And my drive, everything was just like deflated because all I could think about was like caretaking, and those hormones seriously do wreak havoc on.
And it is something. I'm just throwing it out there just because
No, that's a great topic.
because I think in business, especially in entrepreneurship, there's at least the women I've spoken to specifically, there's as many are so accomplished even in their corporate lives and they move into entrepreneurship or whatever. I'm stunned to see how much self-doubt there is and self-talk, walking you to the ledge and you're like, whoa, what are you doing to yourself? But that's not the purpose of it all. And the reason why I brought that up is because both of your guys' life experiences kind of brought you to create and think about Lotus Launch. There's a lot of giving and purpose-driven like commitment in your lives. So without going into too much detail, I know, Jabez, you've got a story to tell. But was it something with your experiences? Was it something that you're a product of your experiences, or is it you've always had a fire in your belly to have that level of, I guess, purpose and driven and compassion?
I mean, we talk about how we both kind of came to our projects differently, but they both resonated with us in different capacities. Our last project, which was a all girls boarding school for underserved youth. I was homeless, for a couple of years in high school and really struggled and had major issues in kind of getting up and out of that situation. And so, our project hit home for me in that way. And you talk about how, it really was kind of there's other drivers for you pushing you towards when we were both workaholics and totally driven folks. But, I
think for me, I grew up with single mom and my aunts, grandma, everybody was like involved in our upbringing. But I'd say we were pretty privileged in the sense that my mom, worked hard, sent us to really good schools. And I could very much see like how, by the schools that we were at, the forks in the road of my former classmates and me was very, very apparent. Like I could see how privilege like almost defined your path in a lot of ways. So like, I've always had a desire to, support and help others who have, don't necessarily have the means in some way. Because I felt like I've experienced that. And I feel like I have been privileged in a lot of ways. And I know education is just a huge component of that.
I love that. So, okay, Jabez, you were homeless, which we have to point out. May I ask and if you're okay with talking about it,
No,
how
no
did
problem.
that happen? Because homeless as a teen, was that by choice or was it by circumstance?
It was circumstance. My mom's a paranoid schizophrenic, and so I grew up kind of in a pretty tumultuous household. Was raised by my grandma when I was really young, and then my mom got out of the hospital, and I was in and out of care with different folks. But when I was 16, she had an episode, and she just disappeared for a while. And so, I mean, it happens, right? Stayed in my car for a few weeks. The school eventually caught me showering in the gym and pulled me aside and said, "What's going on?" And once they found out and I would actually consider myself pretty lucky. Once the school figured out what was going on, a bunch of parents of my friends stepped up, and I pretty much like house surfed, like couch surfed for 2 years. And like just imagine how different it would be if you didn't have that,
Yeah.
right? And there's people out there who don't, like they're homeless and they're like on the street homeless. And I spent a few nights on the streets, which was super scary. Like, oh, I can't. I just my heart breaks thinking about kids in those situations. And I was really lucky.
Same. Yeah.
Oh man, alive. Like that is like that's a hard pill to swallow, to think about that. I mean, gosh, just I can't even imagine, like, if you don't know what you're doing to look out for, how vulnerable you would be for those that are looking out to take advantage of you.
Oh my God.
That's such a crazy thing. So, I mean, shoot, man, like that's like some deep. So we go from laughing about being hungover to like deep, like sitting on a sidewalk.
Yeah.
0 to 12. Here we
So
go.
how did you get out? So how did you get yourself out of it? Like outside of like, okay, so granted, thank goodness for that network of families that were there to support you, but ultimately it was you to have to make that decision to say, but I'm going to do better. Did you
Yeah.
seek out more resources after graduation? Because you did end up getting a degree. So how did that happen? That's not easy.
About that.
So yeah, I had a lot of really good mentors and a ton of people that like circled around and really helped educate me on things I didn't know. I had a mentor who taught me all about business in high school. And it's kind of funny because you can start to see these themes start popping up in our lives and what we do. Like literally, we do that now. And so what I eventually knew, I got a job. I had to live, right? I had to buy food. I got an apartment and kept working and kept working and kept working. And somebody jokingly said, "You should go to college." And I was like, I didn't even graduate from high school. I was like, oh, college isn't really in my storyline. But I went to apply just so that I could get turned down, so I could tell people like, oh, I tried, but I didn't get in. And when they turned me down, I was like, wait a minute. No, that's it. I'm going to college. And so then all of a sudden it like sparked a flame where I was like pissed that I got shot
Rejected.
down. Yeah.
And then if I may interject,
Please.
one of the things that he told me that I think really struck me, and this is so Jabez's personality, is once he decided he was going to do it, he marched into the dean's office at Gonzaga, which he was like, this is the school I want to go to, and went to the dean and said, I'm going to go to your school. And he was like, you don't even have a high school degree. Like, what are you doing? And then he guided you and told you what you had to do to get in. And for me, I was just like, who is this person that just marches in, like says, this is where I'm going to go. And, the person opened doors for him. And I think that is so remarkable when I think about the background that Jabez has and how he has, has his network and utilized a lot of that to his advantage. He has that spark in him too, that allows him to move forward. And I've always been so fascinated with that. And how, when people come from that kind of background, how do they change their life and their pathway? Like there's so many internal and external, stimuli that create that change. But the internal piece is the thing that's going to allow you to see all of the other pieces and create that path forward. So I think that's a piece you don't talk about a lot, but I think that is like truly a remarkable.
Dude, you're like the embodiment of the future is in you. Like, oh my gosh. Look, Mr. Abbott Brothers. I think there's a little bit more Radiohead in you than you realize.
Radiohead.
Well, yeah. You guys must be fun on road trips. Could you like is it you guys have to resort to whoever's driving gets the
get to choose the music?
Yeah, gets to choose the music.
Which is me.
I got our buddy here saying he likes Radiohead as well. So wait, I always get there you go. Dr. Rob Bell. Oh, Dr. Rob Bell would be a really good person for you to chat with. So I met him through Frank Agan, and I think through Frank Agan's group, and which is how I met JD, by the way. and he is an author. He does have his own little podcast, but he works with like your mental coach for like sports people.
Oh, cool.
And
Oh,
so
cool.
he
Yeah.
gets you into the right mental like state of things, but obviously that applies to business, right?
Oh,
And like
100%.
all those different things. So
100%.
you should chat with Rob because he's got some really cool stories, really great guy, and he digs Radiohead. So Becky, that's one chalk that's plus on his
Love
side
it.
to be
Yep.
part of the Lotus Launch crew. But
Like
anyway, I know I'm so bad. I'm like selling people at the same time.
No,
Really
you're
intense.
making it easy for us. Now we've got another roster of folks that we can go go out.
Oh, dude. Okay. As a podcast producer, if you guys want other cool ass, amazing individuals, I've got
Yes.
a plethora. I mean, you
Always.
tell me the subject topic and I tell you. So I don't think I ever told you guys. So I'm the Dallas co-chair for an organization called Global Leaders Organization. And it's very similar to like Vista, GEO, IPO, and all those types of orgs, but it's in the same bailiwicking area that you guys are in. So about
Mhm.
200K revenue to about 2 to 5 million annual revenue. And this community is both international and local, like Dallas, for example. And there's a lot of exchange in person, but also we do weekly meetings, or not weekly meetings, weekly chats, fireside chats virtually, so that reaches our international audience. But then we do monthly meetings as well with speakers. So if you guys have
fun.
specific author speakers, those types of individuals or just kick booty entrepreneurs, like God, there's so many people I can talk to you about that.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, no, there's some really interesting cats that I think you'd be really interested to chat with. Oh my God, I'm all inspired now.
Yes. Yes. That's what it's about. It's like that spark, that inspiration. And especially when people like, back to just what we were talking about earlier, that self-doubt, I think that sometimes women feel a lot, that thing that can prevent them from moving forward or charting their path. It's like, that's something that we need to break. And how do we get through that mental block so that people can create their own path and their own reality and actually have positive impact on their communities and their families and, actually make that positive change. And I think that can be done through business. And that's why we're so passionate about this.
And
I
it
love
pops up
that.
sometimes. You can get over it or get past it for a moment, and
Yeah.
then sometimes it like creeps back in
Mhm.
at a later stage. Like you bump into a new situation, new scenario, new
The
size,
muscle.
new issue, and then all of a
Mhm.
sudden it comes right back, rears its head again.
Hundo, I'm feeling it. I'm being seen here. I'm feeling seen. You guys,
We
you know
see
what?
Welcome to
you,
the
we
Becky
see
and
you.
Jabez show. We're interviewing Saya here
I
today.
know. No, she's like, seriously, it's so funny. It's like, what is that cognitive is that cognitive dissonance? Is that the word? Where like I am a big cheerleader. I will always be everyone's big cheerleader, but yet at the same time, and we're talking about that. It's positivity or inspire yourself or motivate yourself or drive yourself, right? I mean, because that's what really Lotus Launch really is enabling folks, right, to go on their terms, to find those topics that are going to be of interest to them, to learn, to develop themselves at their own pace, right? And that content is so like priceless. Now, granted, you guys have a price, but that's a different issue. But what you take out of it is priceless. But what I'm trying to say is what's crazy to me is like I can't tell you how many of these people I've interviewed over time. They're amazing, accomplished, just by all definitions have achieved success. And then when you actually get down, have a few of those old fashions or whatever the heck you guys drank last night, tequila shots or whatever with mom and dad, those self-doubt language creeps in. I don't care. I've talked to multi-billionaire, millionaire, successful people, and it's those candid moments, those flash of moments, they still have that self-doubt, which is crazy to me when you think about it, right? Because you're like, you have every reason to say you're a badass, but yet at the same time, they're humble enough to go like, no, I have no idea what you do. And just admit it and just ask the questions. How do you guys go overcome that? How do you guys, because you guys are like cheerleaders in your own way, right? So how do you guys overcome your own self-doubt?
It's taken me a while. I would say that for me, I've grown up with a lot of self-doubt, being being a woman and growing up around a lot of women. We have this like echo chamber of it, like, oh, this
Yes.
is how I look, and like I'm not happy with this. There's always a reason to not be happy. And it was so bad that I felt like, I don't know, like I needed to get more education and more education. Like that's how much I was just like so like self-conscious. So I ended up getting like um two masters. I have 2 undergrad, one in psychology, one in organizational studies. I have a master in business, a master in human resource design. And I think about all that. And I'm like, did that really come from me? Like, yes, I love to learn and I love education, but I never really felt like accomplished, And so this drive back to ambition is ambition makes you look really ugly, right?
Hey, I don't see you as a Gucci little piggy, so you're okay.
Yeah, I mean, but getting over that, Jabez has actually helped me a lot. Finding for me, it's like the yin and the yang, right? Like finding a really good partner who can like be like, okay, no, you're like more than enough. Like you don't need to keep like blah, blah, blah. And you have this in you. And so it took a while for me to like really like hear that and understand that and feel confident enough. Like he's been really a cheerleader for me, pushing me to do something like this, which I would never do in a million years. I'm a super introvert. Maybe it doesn't seem like it, but I'm like introvert to the max. Like,
so maybe the tequila is still in you is what you're trying to tell me. Okay, got it. No, I love that. I love that. And I think, when we talk about like having that partner, now granted, you guys are happening to be happily married. Do you like how I just slipped those words in there? But it could just be a friend too, right? Yeah. It could be a mentor. It could be a mentee, right? To get that level of support. So Jabez, how do you then get rid of your self-doubt conversations? And you must have had a ton growing up, obviously, but what about now?
Yeah, I mean, I still do. Sometimes I don't get over it right away. I mean, just to be honest, like sometimes some days are harder and you're like, is this really going to work? Like, am I really doing the right thing here? Sometimes I reflect back on challenges I've had before that I've had to overcome. And, to me, that can be helpful and say like, okay, well, if I was able to do that, I think I can probably do this. I think one of the challenges, especially as entrepreneurs and kind of growth-minded entrepreneurs, we're always on the tip of the spear. We're always kind of stumbling one step forward into the darkness constantly. Mm-hmm. And so, we don't tend to take enough time to stop, look around, reflect. God, we're really lucky. Like, yeah, things can be hard. Yes, things aren't where we want them to be. We always want them to be bigger, better, and faster. But you know what? We've got an amazing 4-year-old and a great family, and things are good. We have the privilege to be able to go out on a Tuesday night and enjoy ourselves a little too much, and I think that helps overcome some of those doubts when you reflect on the moment that actually things are going pretty well.
I love that. I love everything that you just said. You know why? Because it's that you're centered your mind enough in a way the priorities are there where it needs to be at those given moments in time, right? So Tuesday night was, you know what? I'm going to hang out with the in-laws, which I'm sure 90% of the population is like, well, that's a great time on a Tuesday night. No, but I'm joking. I actually love my boyfriend's mom too. But that is right there. You found the moment, you found what works for you guys, what's going to help you guys, continue your path, right? Whether you guys are doing it individually or doing it together jointly. I love that part of it. Can I ask you, now that you have a 4-year-old and you guys are serial entrepreneurs, did that change up the dynamic? You went from being the dynamic duo to now you're a trio with a very demanding third person.
No, yeah.
Oh, we used to work a lot more.
Yeah, we did. That was the thing that really changed once we had a kid, because both of us had to, we had our biggest fights were who gets to work. And like, it's like, are you working right now or am I? And that was really hard because we both wanted to work. We met in Las Vegas at the Aria at the business center. Like that's where we met, not at the strip club or poker table. Like and it's part of our personality. It's part of our DNA. And our son knows that, but we also have to somebody has to be there.
Yeah. We love being parents.
Yeah.
Like we both do love being parents. We also love contributing to the world and making an impact and being out there too. So you do have to strike a new balance. I kind of imagine it like any other time in your life where you've taken on different responsibilities. whether you joined a board of a nonprofit or whether you hired some more employees or interns or, you know, whatever that might be, those are all moments where you have to start reprioritizing, you know, what it is and when you're going to do it and what matters. At the end of the day, work is great, but it's just work. I mean, you know, I mean, yes, I love making an impact. Yes, I love seeing people like thrive and grow and helping them achieve their dreams and goals. But I also love coloring, you know, outside of the lines with our little guy, you know, so it
bubbles.
it's finding the balance and enjoying, you know, all of each of those moments when you can, that I think kind of makes it a little bit better as a parent to also be an entrepreneur.
And compartmentalizing too, I think. Like I think as women, it's hard to compartmentalize. Men do a better job of that. And I'm learning too with just Jabez how to just take things in the moment and then worry about whatever it is when it's time to worry about it. So that's a challenge still.
No, for sure, for sure. So just out of curiosity, because I don't have kids. I mean, I've got 10 nieces and nephews, but that's not quite the same. I get it. Sometimes, I don't know. Because when I have them for the weekend, I feel the pain. But anyway, no, they're all older now. They're amazing. Like all of them are older now. I'm so sad. The oldest is pushing 32 now. So I'm pretty depressed. I know. Anyway, okay, now you told me ADD. Okay, so let me ask you guys this. Like, and has this happened? It just popped up in my head. Has in your time with your son, now he's 4, right? Have you guys had any like flashes of inspiration based on any interaction with him? Any conversation? Any just playing? Did you guys get a idea in your head that popped up that you're like, I can apply that to business? Has that happened at all yet?
I do have something. Did you have something to share? I think the general struggles of being a mom and a business owner and the challenges of that, it has to incorporate your child or your family. So like the self-paced nature of our program, the on-demand self-paced nature, it's very like parent friendly. So I think because we are so in the weeds with, you know, our work life, we know that we have to have the same kind of product that can be delivered to others who go through the same like everyday interruptions. You know, just so you take forward steps to achieve when you're able to.
I love that.
I've also started to pay attention to what grabs his attention. And so, you know, I'm a marketing guy, so I'm always kind of like eyeballing like what is catching his attention, because if you can catch his attention, something's right. Like you've done something there that was likely to catch anybody's attention. And so I do kind of pay attention in that regard and try to apply some of those things to our own, you know, marketing and business practices. But mostly personally, I'd say it's just, he inspires me as a person, and he doesn't even try. Like he doesn't mean to. Like the other day I was at an event, at an EO event, and I had the microphone and I was talking to the chapter, and I didn't know he was watching in a window where the babysitters were at. And I guess he said, you know, he asked me, he said, "Daddy, you know, are you the leader?" And I was like, "Oh, well, I guess at that moment, sure." And I was like, "What made you say that?" And he's like, "Well, you were on the speaker," because he could hear me on the speakers. He's like, "Well, you're on the speaker." And I was like, "Oh," I was like, "That's really like, he thinks like he looked at me as a leader." Like, I don't know. I have never felt more like a leader until that moment.
Oh, and you know what sucks is I'm sure you're like, I wish I could record that because
Yes.
that is awesome. Okay, so I know we can keep talking, you guys. I absolutely adore everything that you guys are doing. So for those that want to get a hold of you, how is the best way? And I've already been streaming Lotus Launch's website, which is community.lotuslaunch.com. But how else can folks get a hold of you guys to see how they can either A, get into your content and help you create more, and or receive your content?
Well, you can email us. You can. What do you do?
Yeah, well, I mean, so yeah, first name at lotuslaunch.com if you want to email. So Becky at lotuslaunch.com or Jabez. LinkedIn's a great place. I hang out on LinkedIn a lot. We're all over the socials. So if you want to, I'm the only Jabez LeBret, or I think you might be the only. Well, you're easy to find. We're easy to find online. So we love hearing people's ideas about content and stuff too. So absolutely, if people have an idea of ways that they might want to contribute content, you know, do reach out.
We have a Facebook page too. It's Lotus Launch. Also should be pretty easy to find. We have a little mini Instagram account that we're growing, but reaching out to us via email or LinkedIn is probably the best.
Love it, love it, love it. Okay, you guys are such rock stars. Thank you so much for joining us, Becky, Jabez. I love you guys like a love song.
Thank
Really,
you.
really appreciate you. So before I let you guys go entirely, I do have some housekeeping stuff that I do need to do just because, well, apparently it's self-promotion and damn, it's my show. So I will do it. So on that note, it is a Global Leaders Organization, Dallas. We're committed to community, commerce, capital, content. Really, our thing is like I said, is we complement other business organizations. This is for the established, I don't want to call it a startup business that is looking to accelerate growth through community to help you get to that next level. If you're looking for access to capital, that is really our bread and butter, is we will help our community look at funding and all that good stuff and walk you through that, all that good stuff. Our next meeting is with Justin Forsett, NFL. I think he was a running back. That'll be August 31st. And no, I didn't make a graphic for it because that would require me to plan in advance. So don't worry about that. And then, of course, what the hell is Innovation Media Enterprises? Everyone has a story to tell. Do it with a podcast. What we do is we consult, we strategize, we do production, we do marketing, all things podcasting. And of course, the future is inside us with Becky and Jabez LeBret. And yes, I know you're giggling, girl. You guys,
So funny.
did you like that little?
I want that. I want that graphic. Like that's gonna be my new thing.
It's not one of my better. I'm sorry, you guys. but I figured it would be one of those things where they're like, yeah, like I get to see some graphic designer going like, I want to work with them and teach them basics. But you guys, I just want to say thank you so much for your time. Everyone, please hit up Jabez, Becky over on LinkedIn. You can go to community.lotuslaunch.com. And on that note, everyone, thank you so much for joining us on The Mic is Listening. See ya.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.